All right, how's it going? So I've been getting some pushback saying that FSD won't be worth $50,000. I have a route that's here in my GPS, so I'm gonna go ahead and just start the route, and then I'm gonna talk to you guys about how I think FSD is gonna be worth that amount. So in the Cybertruck, we don't have the ability to just take off from a push button like we do in the Model Y. I'm gonna just pull out the driveway because it struggles with that as well. We have an Amazon delivery. Cool. All right, so now we're active. We're in FSD. Hands and feet are off of the wheels and whatnot. I don't know where we're going. I've never been to this destination. Hopefully we got some nice windy roads about 9 minutes away. Hopefully I can get this video done before those 9 minutes. So why do I think FSD could be worth $50,000? You know, at one point in time, FSD was even worth $12,000. I think even $15,000 at one point. Now it's currently selling for $8,000. And the reason why FSD will be able to become more expensive versus less expensive is because the value of the service, right? Not only do I think that FSD is worth over $8,000 right now, I think it's worth the $12,000 mark, but FSD is ultimately just more valuable than the $8,000 that it is. For me, especially, I drive out of town quite a bit. I have a lot of long 8-hour journeys, and you know, me as a business owner, I can be in meetings and stay more focused on my meetings a little bit and a little bit less on the driving, since I don't have to manually drive. So that alone is such a huge value to me that I can't even really put it to numbers, right? And I'm gonna get into some examples as well as far as like numbers and how it might make sense that FSDs could be worth $50,000. Now, I also think that Tesla will get creative in the way that they sell FSD into the future, the same way that right now you can buy it outright, and you can also get the subscription model for $100 a month. So one option that's immediately there is you could go from $100 a month to $200 a month to $300 a month, and then going into some more dynamic models that will really emphasize on them being able to get to that $50,000 mark. Is one, they might have just a $50,000 option that's like a commercial use option. That's the first and easiest, like most straightforward way. And at $50,000 for commercial, it's 101% worth it. Why? Because as investors into a system or a product or a business model, right, we go by different ROIs, right? And most investments are based on a 2-year ROI. And so I broke this down in one of my posts and text or whatever, that on a 2-year ROI of a robotaxi, you're able to calculate that by saying, how much can I generate in revenue for FSD? Well, potentially you can generate roughly $200,000 per year in FSD. And I can get into that in another video if you'd like, but we're just using these numbers for sake, okay? Let's say roughly an Uber driver makes like $80,000 a year, okay? And this vehicle is going to be able to drive more hours in a day than an Uber driver can drive. So with that being said, at $200,000 a year, $400,000 for 2 years, that now gives an investor that I could spend $400,000 on this product and still get an ROI. So if I buy the vehicle for $50,000, I'm just using rough numbers for easy calculation. If I buy the vehicle itself for $50,000, and then I buy the FSD for $50,000, the ROI on that is tremendous, okay? That already beats the expectation of now that ROI is under 1 year. It's 6 months ROI. For an investor, that's remarkable, right? And then you're not even considering that you can get a loan against that vehicle. So, which means my cash to invest has dropped significantly, right? So let's say, for instance, we're talking about vehicle with FSD, $100,000, okay? My down payment on that, let's just say, for instance, 20%. Now my cash to investment is $20,000, okay? So with my cash to investment only being $20,000, and I'm going to make $200,000 a year, would you not spend $20,000 in cash right now today if you had it in hand in order to make $200,000 a year? Given there's going to be, that's revenue. Given there's going to be expenses. Let's say, for instance, you're going to have $50,000 in expenses, and I do need to calculate that into the model. So let's say, for instance, over 2 years or over one year, your revenue, your profit is only going to be, let's say, roughly $150,000. And so if your profit's only $150,000, that actually takes our number to $300,000 price target that we have to hit. But again, that's for a 2-year ROI. We need $300,000. That's taking into consider the profit of that of the operations, right? Because you want to pay back your initial investment. That's what ROI stands for. So at $100,000 for the vehicle and the FSD, and it's only a $20,000 cash investment. This is like one of the best investments that you could do. And even if you recalculated the revenue numbers and the profit numbers, even if you profited only $100,000, that's still a 1-year ROI. And it's not even a 1-year ROI on your cash return. That's a 1-year ROI if you bought the vehicle and FSD cash. Nice. I will say this stop sign right here we're stopped at, sometimes it bypasses it. So that's kind of a major issue. But I don't think it would ever cause a crash. I think it just doesn't see any vehicles coming and thinks it's a Y. But going into, back to it, basically that, lost track of my thought. So now we're basically at that $20,000 cash to investment, right? And again, you're going to make that $20,000 back in under 6 months, because you should be able to, at a bare minimum. Now I'm reducing the numbers by a lot. You're going to make $50,000 in the first 6 months. So this is an extremely good investment opportunity for anybody who wants to operate a business. Sure, you have to manage a fleet and all that stuff, but you can hire employees to manage the fleet. There's a lot of things you can do to manage the fleet. I mean, at these types of numbers, if you had a fleet of 5 or 6, 7 vehicles, you could literally pay somebody to sit as a Tesla supercharger and plug your vehicles in. Like, that's the type of numbers we're talking about here with FSD. Now, that's on the commercial side. Now, I want to kind of step away from that commercial side, and we can dive deeper into the commercial side and discuss on that more deeply. But before we go, but I want to also talk about on the consumer side, right? Because a lot of people are pushing back saying, oh, people will never be able to afford to pay that amount. They'll never pay that amount. I understand as a consumer, consumers don't have $50,000 in their pocket to be able to spend that much money. So there's going to be a couple options. You could have your FSD subscription model be $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, right? Sorry, let me take that back. $100 a month, $200 a month, $300 a month. So those are your so 3 different tiers that you could have for a monthly subscription model. Another model that I think would work is if you start having a model where, by the way, I don't know where we're at. If you start having a model where the payment or the cost of FSD is based on usage, I think that's going to really open up the door, right? Because people don't mind paying for value, right? I'm going to have to stop this because we're in a private property thing that says don't go this way. But I put this where I put it. I put it to this place here. So I'm just going to select another place, and then that's where we'll go. Oh, gosh. Okay. Boop. Boop. Intro. Doop. Doop. Re-engaging, autopilot, basically going back to where we came from. So with the different tiers and charging based on utilization, I think that might be a great model for Tesla to be able to extract more money from people who are getting more value. So, like, let's say, for instance, like, it's like pay per mile basis. Now, a lot of people are going to hate that and kind of be frustrated about it and whatnot. But on the flip side, business owners like me that do a lot of traveling, I ran a quick calculation just kind of justifying how, like, somebody like myself could see an ROI, or how a lot of people could see an ROI based on some of the drives, let's say I do to my customers' facilities, okay? So some of those drives are 8 hours long each way. So if I was able to do these 8-hour drives and do them while I sleep, then if I just calculated a low number, right? Not as even as a business owner, but just as an employee, right? But if I calculated this number as an employee at, like, let's just say $30 an hour, okay? At $30 an hour times 8 hours a day, I don't have a calculator at the moment. Damn. That's like $30. Hold on, $30 an hour, like $250, something like that. Okay, so it's $250, and that's $250 one way. Okay, so we have to go there and we have to go back. So that's a total of $500 round trip. It doesn't take much for those trips to add up to be worth whatever FSD is charging. So I did the calculation. It's a total of 20 trips. I do way more than 20 trips in a year, right? So just in the time savings justification for myself personally, doing 20 trips a year at only $30 an hour. If I ran me as a business owner at, like, you know, $150 an hour or whatever number I want to throw out there, even some of our robotic service technician charges are $150 an hour, right? So at $150 an hour, I mean, this pays for itself like within like 5-6 trips, right? As a business owner, you know, we're just talking about just a lower $30 an hour, you know, type of hourly rate for the amount of time savings that you would get back and the amount of money you would basically save by getting that time back by sleeping while you travel. So you go out from your car, or you go out from your house into your car, you go to sleep, you wake up at your destination, right? Somebody could say, oh, well, you could do that at an airport as well. Well, the airport costs. For me, in my area, it's anywhere between $300 to $600 for a flight anywhere, basically. Okay, so one, I'm immediately paying $300 to $600, and I still have my time, and I have to go through security. I have to get my bags. I have to get from my house to the airport, you know, versus like just going out of my house into my car and just being asleep and being able to have my bags packed the night before or something, the day before. So that way, whenever I'm ready to leave, I can just jump in the car and go. Policia. See how this is going to handle this. I don't know how this is going to go, guys. Can it hear it? Can it hear it? Can it hear it? I might have to take over if it doesn't. Should hear it, though. It should just stop and stay. Okay, it's stopping for another car coming down the road. Okay, cool. Sweet, we're safe. But that simple cost justification, in 20 trips, it pays for FSD at its, was it at its current price, or was that wasn't $50,000? If it was $500 per trip, then you need, like, what, 50 trips? I don't know. I don't have a calculator on me. I do all math by calculator now. But, yeah, so what would that be? $50,000. If FSD was $50,000. That's $500 per trip. Would it be 100 trips? I think it'd be 100 trips. I'm pretty sure it'd be 100 trips. But again, that's just paying for FSD outright. If they go by the per mileage basis, so that way super users, you know, pay a lot more. So if you just drive in town, going to the grocery store, taking your kids to school and stuff like that, you know, that cost may only be, or that mileage that you use in a day, you know, might only be 10 miles in a day, 5 miles in a day, you know, 20 miles in a day. It might be, you know, I don't know what the average use of a vehicle is and how much people travel in a year, but I would assume most people only travel like 10,000 miles in a year. For myself, somebody like me, I've already went 13,000 miles since I had this Cybertruck for 3 months. So I'm going to put like 40,000 miles on this vehicle this year. So I'd be considered like a super user, right? And so, you know, maybe the individuals that are non-super users, you know, they get 10,000 miles to use in a year. Maybe that's how it works. I mean, that'd be an easy, straightforward. I mean, you can be pay per mile, like every individual mile costs a certain amount, or it could be like an allotted amount, which would be an easy, like, financial calculator where I said, like, you had tiers, like, and basically your tiers were 10,000 mile packages, whereas like 10,000 miles, 20,000 miles, 30,000 miles, 40,000 miles, 50,000 miles per year, right? And so you would pay for whatever that tier is on, like, let's say a subscription model, where or you could, or it just goes up in price. If you're under 10,000 miles of FSD in the year, it costs $100 a month. As soon as you go above that, now you're at $200 a month until it gets to that $20,000 point. Then after it gets past that $20,000 point, it's $300 a month. And again, it's like, if it's one of those things, if you want to keep using it, keep using it. If you don't think the value's there anymore, then don't use it no more, right? But again, like for me, like the cost per month for somebody like myself, like it could be $1,000 a month. I mean, honestly, just like me being able to jump into a car, like I have a personal driver and it take me somewhere, the value of that in a month is, I can't even really justify it. I mean, maybe tens of thousands of dollars. Like, yeah, I mean, it could be, I mean, you're at least in multi-thousands of dollars. I don't want to say $10,000, but I mean, at least multi-$1,000. And again, like, let's just go back to like somebody who's not necessarily a business owner and not as much of a power user. Maybe it's a sales rep. Their job is to travel around different places and go talk to different people. And so they put on, 20,000 miles a year. So you can still get some of those people that are like, not necessarily benefiting as much from the FSD, but can still benefit significantly. And then you have also companies where this comes more on the commercial side of things, where like if I had a sales rep and I gave my employee FSD to ride around while he was doing his sales calls, he could then like sit here and like, be calling customers and diddling on his phone and like, trying to get things set up. Where do I need to go after I go to this place? And just let the car do the driving while he does the figuring out. Versus like a sales rep having to sit there at the thing, figure out where I'm going. Okay, this is where I'm going. Okay, now I can start driving. Then after he starts driving, then, then he gets to the next location. Or maybe he has to spend 4 or 5 hours the day before mapping out all the places he needs to go to the next day and getting all that lined out. Which he wouldn't even have to do that no more. So he gains all that time back. Again, we're talking on a business aspect again, but, that could come from like the employee wanting to save that time because he's a sales rep and he's paid on commission. Or it could be a business owner who's willing to give that to their employees because it saves their employees so much more time. Maybe if it's just a technician, right? Something like the Cybertruck would be great for that. If I want to send my service technicians on the road and somehow it just made sense where they could work on other things. Maybe they could start programming and troubleshooting and doing stuff like that while they're on the road to the customer's facility, because we do like a lot of like program troubleshooting and stuff. So they can start looking in the code and looking into, what all is going to take to fix the system. So when they arrive on site, they're able to immediately get to it and start working. And that can become chargeable hours if we can, we'll show like, we can take screenshots and stuff like that of our computers when our people are working and stuff. So like we can share those screenshots to our customers, and then boom, that, we have the proof that we started service when we left our facility in our hometown. And then make that billable hours to the customer. So we literally turn those back into billable hours just because they're in FSD and they're able to do things like, troubleshoot code and whatever. But different businesses have different use cases. So, yeah, that's just like kind of a brief of a couple of ways where I think FSD can be that valuable and can reach that $50,000 price point. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. I know there's a lot of people that don't think the FSD can ever hit this price point. Again, it does have to hit unsupervised for it to hit that price point. I think it's worth the $8,000 and more than what it's worth. But to really see that $50,000 price point and maybe even potentially higher, we're going to need to see FSD unsupervised across the United States before you see that full potential. Hopefully this was enjoyable for you guys. If you'd like to see like a more cut up, better edit of this one, you can check it out on YouTube. This might be posted up on Facebook as well. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.